Of January 2026. We're going to see what's happening in the world and around the world. And of course, we'll be seeing what folks' thoughts are around a number of the world issues as folks are trying to figure out what 2026 will look like and all along those lines. So we're definitely looking forward to hearing what folks have to say about a number of these stories and what's on their mind with the news of the day and all along that kind of way. So a lot of people are going to be talking about the economy in the new year and which way the economy will go. And of course, we still got folks that are wondering about the Epstein files and things along those lines. So definitely, there's a lot of things that'll be covered in the new year. And of course, this is only our second broadcast for 2026. So I saw that Dr. Sharif was here earlier, and hopefully he'll be making a return trip along with some of my other regulars as well. But definitely, we'll be trying to keep track of what's going on in the world and seeing what people have to say about a number of these stories and all along those lines. So definitely, I know people are still thinking about the fires that took place in Europe. That was during New Year's Eve and all along those lines. And my understanding is it was a device that was actually one that had been advertised as being explosive and all along those lines, but I don't think they were expecting to be as explosive as it was. And I know that even on their network, Kimberly has been talking about what's going on with the retracted parts of the Epstein files and all along those lines. And we'll definitely be hearing what folks have to say about that in the not too distant future as well. So a lot of things are going on in the world. And of course, we're glad to be reporting on them here on World Edition and seeing what folks have to say about a number of these stories and how they are affecting them and all along those lines. If you've got stories that you're interested in having reported on, definitely let us know, and we'll be glad to get to those as well. And if there's things that you're very much interested in, definitely share them with us. And of course, we'll be reaching out to get some new guests and all along those lines. We had some amazing guests in 2025, and I'm hoping to have some more in 2026. So definitely that's one of the things we're hoping for is that we'll get some new and amazing guests and all along those lines. I know the Ukraine Russia China show will be a repeat today, but they'll be back on Tuesday. And of course, the chess show will be a repeat on Saturday, but they'll be back on next Saturday, the 10th, and all along those lines. So looking forward to having some of these shows back and seeing what they've got in their mind. As a matter of fact, the Bullion show will be making its return on the 4th, which is Sunday, and Good Ships Happens will be making its return on later on this afternoon. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing what's going on in the cruise industry and all along those lines. So lots of things are going to be talked about in the news, and we'll be glad to have folks' thoughts around a number of these issues, a number of these things that are taking place, and how it's impacting them as well. So definitely, I think we might be getting some rain here, and some other places of America have been hit by snow. So weather is definitely an element, as it often is in the winter and all along those lines. So we'll definitely be interested to see what folks have to say about that, also to see what their responses are to a number of the things that are going on the weather front as well. So I'm going to find out what people have been up to and what they're doing in their lives and all along those lines as we wait for people to join here on this show. And we'll be definitely seeing what they've got in their reports as well, because I know they probably got a lot going on. And it's always interesting to see what folks have to say and all along those lines. So definitely waiting to hear from Mr. Sharif and others to see what they've got going on in their world and what might be happening with their own situations and all along those lines. So definitely it ought to be fascinating, and we're looking forward to having some robust conversations in this new year and all along those lines. So definitely it ought to be interesting to see what folks have to say about what's happening in their space and with them and all in that kind of way. So definitely interested in going to hear what people have to say about the world issues and what's going on in their world. And of course, we've got other folks that are doing interesting things as well. And of course, folks are now getting ready for the campaigns. I did see that Mamdani was accused of scrubbing anti-Semitic remarks, and there was some controversy around that. But I also understand he had a very upbeat inauguration, and that's what some folks in my family let me know that it was very upbeat and very motivational and all in that kind of way. So definitely that's some good news that we were having some positive motivations coming from New York City. And of course, this is the midterm election, so we're going to see how the midterm elections play out and what folks have to say about the midterm elections and all along those lines. So it ought to be quite interesting to see whether folks are supporters of the midterm elections or not supporters, and who will be the the people that come out ahead. I know the Democrats are already feeling that they've won some headway in some of the early elections, but now 2026 is upon us, and we've got some major races that will be taking place, and of course we'll be reporting on those. We might even get some of the candidates to come in. I know that Steve comes in regularly, and he's running for a county office here, and might even lead into a state office or a national office eventually as well. So this ought to be interesting to see how folks play out in that situation and what goes on there also. So we're interested to see how folks have to respond to a number of these news stories and what goes on in their world and all along those lines. I'm going to actually play a couple of quick commercials, see if any of the gang comes in, and then we might be back with some more actual news items other than my just general thoughts of 2026. But definitely play some of these, and hopefully some folks will be joining us in the near future. But let's check out these, including one from one of our founders and all along those lines. But there's some other ones as well, including some from one of our Thursday night shows. She's got her Can Do Spices and all along those lines. So I'll play a couple of these, but let me get with National Pensions first, which is one of our sponsors and is definitely involved in stuff here. So let's check out this from one of our sponsors of the network and one of the founders of the network. So let's check this out.
Welcome to National Pension Partners, where retirement planning meets peace of mind. Today, we're diving into the 412(e)(3) plan, also known as a fully insured pension plan. This isn't just any retirement plan. It's the gold standard for stability and guaranteed benefits. How does it work? Simple. It's funded exclusively by life insurance and annuity contracts. This means no market risks, no actuarial assumptions, just ironclad guarantees. Think of it like this. You're a small business owner who hates surprises. The 412(e)(3) plan gives you predictable, stable contributions every year. Your future benefits are backed by insurance contracts, so you know exactly what you're getting. No guesswork, no headaches. But there's more. These plans are designed to maximize your contributions and offer significant tax advantages. And with National Pension Partners, you're not just getting a plan, you're getting a team of experts, attorneys, CPAs, actuaries, all dedicated to making your retirement as secure as possible. We provide personalized consulting, ensuring that your plan is tailored to your specific needs. Best part, initial consultations and proposals are absolutely free. $0, zero commitment. So if you want a retirement plan that's as reliable as your morning coffee, head over to nationalpensions.com. With the 412(e)(3) plan, your future is in safe hands. Retirement planning never sounded so thrilling. Perfect for small business owners who like their finances as predictable as Monday mornings. Stable contributions, ironclad guarantees, and serious tax advantages. It's the trifecta of financial security. And with National Pension Partners, you get a team of brainiacs, attorneys, CPAs, actuaries, ensuring your retirement is as secure as Fort Knox. Oh, did we mention the free consultations? That's right. You get a personalized expert proposal with $0 down. So, if you want a retirement plan that's as reliable as your morning coffee, head over to nationalpensions.com. Because when it comes to your future, boring is the new exciting. Retirement planning never sounded so thrilling. For more details, check out National Pension Partners at nationalpensions.com. Retirement planning never sounded so thrilling.
See what's on Chris's mind and everything like that. I was just telling folks, because my computer is acting in a strange way and everything like that, some of the general thoughts of what was going on in 2026, now that we're in a new year. So what did you do, Chris, in the new year, and how are you doing on this, the second of the new year? So did you do anything fun to bring in the new year? I had a very quiet one and everything like that. So how are you doing?
Oh, good, fine. Mark, thank you for inviting me on the show. Interestingly enough, normally what happens is people set off fireworks, right? I mean, just everywhere. Well, the dryness in the weather and it's whatever you want to call it, red flag alert or whatever it is. The dryness has prevented people from setting off fireworks, because then you end up having like massive forest fires, things like that. So I'm really happy that people held off on that, and it gave us the ability to have a good night's sleep too. So that was really nice to be able to make that work. So I'm very, very happy that was the way the situation was. So 2025.
Yeah, go ahead. I did hear some people firing off some either fireworks or shotguns. I wasn't sure what, because I was inside and everything like that. But yeah, I did hear some people firing off some celebrations of one sort or another.
Yeah, any type of weapon firing off is just absolutely insane, especially in the air, because that thing has to fall to earth sooner or later. So what happens is it falls to earth and ends up killing somebody or go through the house or whatever else happens. And it could be 5 miles away, 10 miles away, whatever the velocity is of that weapon that's being fired. So I think it's I don't know if there's a state law or federal law or whatever else, but you cannot fire weapons in the air. It used to be where law enforcement used to be able to fire warning shots in the air, before they aimed the gun at you. And then they said, no, you can't do that anymore, because the shots literally were coming down to earth and, going through homes and wherever it was. So it was a bad situation there. So, yeah.
Sounds like a bad situation.
So I was, I'm doing some data show stuff. I sent you the new data show. But
cool.
The next data show I was going to do was going to be on taxes, revenue, that type of thing.
Right.
And I came upon this .gov document. It's that is really, really interesting. I'll share it with you guys. It was just a very interesting overall look at revenue, different types of revenue that the government has, and it's pretty amazing how many types of, so here it goes all the way from 1940. So summary receipts, outlays, and surpluses or deficits in current dollars. Constant fiscal year $17, which is good. I'm glad they did that in constant. So 1940 to 2024, and it shows all the different outlays. That's just one of them. That's got summary receipts percentages, summary receipts, outlays of deficits, 1789 to 2024. And that's got really great notes, data notes in the beginning that to tell you exactly what different aspects of them were. But I thought it was just an interesting look. I'm going to take some of these and put them into, in fact, I think I did this one. Yeah, I did this. I put this into a chart, individual income taxes, basically what the taxation looks like all the way from, zero would be 1940 all the way to 2024, different aspects.
Oh, wow.
And it really, look, individual income taxes, corporate income taxes, social insurance. So these are the receipts. These are the ones, these are the basically receipts. So that's what this is the, how much was paid into, into Social Security. So in 1934, there was 30 million put in, right? So yeah, 30. So it's amount in millions, and then $1 billion in 1938, $1.5 billion, and then you go all the way to now, and you go into you go into here. This is what's this? $1 trillion. I mean, so yeah. So I mean, we're talking here 2014, $1 trillion receipts. I mean, dadgum. So I'd say these types of tables are just really well. I mean, I really appreciate them doing this type of thing because it really is. And I wish more people would know about it, or
It
would
really
take.
helps out a lot.
Well, it just gives you an idea as to what is going on. I mean, in the United States government,
Yeah.
at least from their point of view, from the .gov point of view, but at least it gives you something to be able to take a look at. Because I think people seldom realize how much we're talking about from the outlays and then how much we spend, right? So outlays by function, I mean, national defense. So national defense, you take a look at national defense, and we're spending in millions, right? So we're spending $873 billion, right? So almost $1 trillion worth of for national defense. Human resources, human resources, $4 trillion. I mean, so it's mind-boggling when it comes all down to it. But anyways, I'm going to present this in the data show. My next data show, I'll talk about these areas as well as different spending aspects. And I think the spending aspect is what people are some people are interested in. You know, how much are we really talking about? I mean, so it's these outlays that I think people really get really want to know about, and the difference between
Yeah,
on budget. We'll talk about all that stuff. So, anyways, just thought I'd give a little.
No, I
review.
appreciate that. That was interesting and everything along those lines. And I don't know if Jacoby's got some interesting thoughts. Like I said, I wasn't able to really get the Drudge Report up or any of the other ones that I usually get up and everything like that. So maybe he's got some ideas of some of the other news breaking stories. But I did get some good news for the network, and Nick will be interested in this. But one of our show host has been fighting cancer, and I saw her yesterday at the Kwanzaa celebration, and she is cancer free. So Shanice Cradle told me to tell folks that she is cancer free, and she'll be doing several Dreamstock shows that she'll do like you do, record them and then present them to us and everything like that. But definitely she has gotten the notice on the recently that she is 100% cancer free. So that was good news from one of our host who was fighting that battle and everything along those lines. So that was definitely some positive news.
That's great. I mean, that's really good news. I mean, anytime you can beat cancer, I mean, that is just an amazing trait. That's great.
Yeah.
Tell her congratulations. That's super.
So Nixon started the war on cancer about more than 50 years ago, and at the time, only 50% of people made it 5 years after treatment remission free, or recurrence free. Now it's 75%. So we're slowly winning the war on cancer, and that rate goes up 1% every year. So 2 years from now, it might be 77%.
Wow.
Wow.
Definitely.
Well,
like I was telling folks,
but still, interestingly enough, CDC, if you take a look at the causes of death, the first number one cause of death that has been the number one cause of death for decades, literally, has been heart disease, cardiovascular disease. I mean, that's something that overrides cancer. Any other cancer's getting up there. Actually, it's not anymore. I think it's fifth or fourth, but heart disease is number one. And it's interesting because the heart disease aspect is something that you can help prevent. You can help, and medical science has been absolutely astronomical on this. When I had my first cardiac catheterization, it was 1989 when I was 35 years old, and they put me on this metal table that didn't have any heat, and I was buck naked with this little sheet on top of me for the doctor to get in there. I was freezing my butt off. Then the next one I had was 2000, and they had a nice heated blanket on a nice. It was just, I thought, wow, just that was just absolutely astronomically, so much better. And the surgical procedures are so much better. It's just, I mean, medical science, I can't compliment them enough. They're making such great strides in every single area that you can think of. And it's just amazing.
That doesn't get talked about. And what doesn't get talked about enough is we're worried about medical coverage. And the deal is, one problem with medicine is good medicine costs a ton of money.
It does.
Like back in the days when everybody had adequate coverage, say 1975, sure, yeah, medicine was cheaper, but also you died.
I mean, if you had a heart attack my uncle had a heart attack back in the 1960s, and they basically told him, you're done. Just sit there and just wait to die type thing. Now you have a heart attack and it's kind of like, hey, here's what you do, and you get back on exercising, and you get back doing all those things that you need to do, and you get back to having a quality of life that's basically there. And here's the medicine to help you, and it will help to make sure that we control that area. And interestingly enough, is that the medicine that we get is made in India, it's made in China, it's made in all different areas other than the United. I mean, it's some made in the United States, but it's probably researched in the United States, but most of it is manufactured in other areas.
Yeah, and some of my medicine I get on the gray market from Dr. Reddy's.
Yes.
Which sounds like a ridiculous name for a pharmaceutical company. It's out of India. It's the third largest pharmaceutical company in the world.
Yeah, I got my statins through pharmacy. I mean, it was a generic brand for statins, and that's where I got it from. It was Reddy's. It had Reddy's on it. Reddy.
When it comes to cardiac health, like our president is a case in point. A guy who says exercise is boring. The only exercise he gets is golf, but he's on a ton of medications, and he's in pretty good shape for a guy who's 79 and a half, even though he only follows half of the recommendations. They tried to get him to wear, I've been wearing pressure stockings for my varicose veins for 50 years. He won't, but a problem with seniors with cardiac issues is they don't like them. They're uncomfortable. They take some getting used to. And so he doesn't wear them, so he gets cankles. But even so, with all this, even though he only follows half of the recommendations, they can keep him going with modern medicine.
So let's go back, right? Let's take two other presidents. Let's take Bill Clinton. His personal physician was a guy by the name of Dean Ornish. And Dean Ornish wrote a book. And that book basically said there were 4 major ways to be able to decrease the amount of blockage in your heart. Dean Ornish wrote that book. And Bill Clinton didn't pay attention to it at all. I mean, he was a McDonald's guy. He went out and jogged. He was one of the first jogging presidents, but he went out and jogged. But that was about it. And
he would jog due to McDonald's. He jogged.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the reason he stated, right? I don't like to run. I like to eat. So he basically he did that, and then he ended up with a heart attack. And guess what? He called up Dean Ornish, and he said, "Hey, Dean, you have any recommendations?" He says, Dean, Dr. Ornish told him, and in fact, Clinton said this. And I'm gisting at this point, but Dean Ornish told him, "Hey, I've been telling you this every single day while you were president. Every single time you walked in my office, I said, hey, this is what you got to do. You got to eat. You got to eat better. You got to do all those things that need to be done." So then all of a sudden, boom, he did it. And now but he has his own chef. Rick, he's got his own chef. So he can say, look, I want this, and the chef just does it. So it works out pretty well. Second president, Biden. So Biden, interestingly enough, had atrial fibrillation. He had it to the point where he had to have drugs to be able to control it, which most of the time, in all fairness, atrial fibrillation is not something you can control yourself. You really do need drugs, beta blockers and others, to be able to make that work. But a lot of people think, Biden only had asthma or whatever it was. Atrial fibrillation is pretty serious. Now, the guy had it under control, according to the physician, which was good. But beta blockers make you extremely tired. I mean, they really, really make you tired. So and I had in fact, I had his physical. It was released to the public, so I was able to get a hold of it, all the different aspects. And he had some real issues. He had statins. He was on statins. He had his cholesterol pretty much under control with those. Atrial fibrillation. He had, and that was due to, I don't know what it was due to, but basically he had it under control with drugs. So there are two presidents there that have issues with cardiac. And I agree with you, Rick. If President Trump does not have cardiac issues, I would be extremely surprised about that.
No, because he's got a chronic venous insufficiency, which is a long word for that he accumulates full of fluid in his legs. But I have a congenital condition where I've got the same thing, but I address it. I sleep with my legs elevated, and I take beta blockers. I take this Toprol.
So do I.
And one great thing is I don't punch people anymore.
They do calm you down. You're right. They are calming in. They are a calming influence.
Yeah. The last time I punched my writing partner in 1998. So, and then I decided to increase. He deserved it, but but anyway, it's an adrenaline blocker, and it also makes me calmer in traffic. But yeah, it's for blood pressure and it's for AFib.
Right. Yes, it is. Interestingly enough, the fluorescent lights, now everything is LED, but fluorescent lights kicked off the beta reaction in people. So the more time you spent under fluorescent lights, the more excitable you got, the more agitated you got, and hence beta blockers, right? So they loved it. The people at work in the production area loved it because people were excited. They were like, constantly moving. They were doing all kind of, crazy stuff because of fluorescent lights. And then they got rid of the fluorescent lights and went to LEDs. And all of a sudden people started getting calmer. It's like, oh my gosh, our productivity is going down. Well, it wasn't the productivity was going down. People's excitement were going down. So it was that type of thing.
But back to Biden, the Biden White House did a number of things wrong about Biden medically. A, they should have leveled with everybody. B, they should have gotten him out there. He should have been talking to the American people at least twice a month instead of hiding him. And they were intimidated because every time Biden stumbled over his words, Fox News would add that to their clip montage of Biden making verbal stumbles. Biden should have been on it, should have owned it, said, look, I've got a stutter. I'm going to screw up, but and also they should have gotten him on steroids. And we've had a president on steroids, which is
that's true.
Trump,
JFK.
And when Trump got COVID, among the treatments they gave him were steroids, and steroids make you more they look at RFK Jr. takes a ton of replacement testosterone. He's 71 years old, and he's got these giant pec muscles. He likes to take his shirt off. He likes to do push-ups. They should have gotten Biden on that program.
So I don't think that it was that he was afraid or they were afraid to get him out there. I think it was they did not realize the changing of the times and how politics is now in comparison to what it was before. George Bush was never out there all day, every day. Clinton was never out there all day, every day. Even President Obama wasn't out there all day, every day. Trump is, because he deals with the media and social media. He's there all the time, every bit of it, every day. So it wasn't that they didn't want to. It's you have a different viewpoint of what a president does and what a president is. So as Biden went about his business, because he actually did a lot of great stuff or a lot of good things and wasn't out there selling it. No president did that in the past. No, Obama did a lot of stuff. We wasn't out there selling it every day and every hour. Bush did some decent things. He wasn't out there selling it every hour. Trump is out there selling, oh, well, we're going to lower prices on drugs. He did that all last week, all the week before, all this. They're talking about raising prices on 350 drug makers are talking about raising prices right now. But Trump is out there propagandizing that he's going to lower drug prices. So it's a different mindset on what you're supposed to be doing and being media savvy and having control or being able to control the narrative. Trump can do that. Trump can't do anything else, but Trump can control the narrative.
It's called the Russian fire hose, that you bombard people with stuff. You're right, and it's a strategy that no president. In fact, people made fun of Key and Peele made fun of how low key Obama was with the Obama anger translator.
Yeah,
even his nickname, no drama Obama.
And that's why it wasn't. I don't think it was. Hey, we don't realize that we're not out there. Or we're trying to hide them from being out there. I don't think it was that. I think it was more so they were the old guard. That's old politics now. That's past. People want somebody out front every day telling them, because honestly, one of the things that one of the things that the people that voted for Trump enjoyed about Trump is that they see him doing something. Well, he's not really. He's out there talking and saying all this crap and also screwing a bunch of stuff up. He's not talking about the stuff that he's screwing up or anything. And he's just selling you a bunch of lies. Like with Russia and Ukraine, I can end it in one day. Well, we're a year past now, and he hadn't done a jack crap on it except for made it worse.
Made it worse.
Well, I disagree. I disagree. It could not be any worse than it is with or without him at this point in time.
Actually, I can tell you why.
Please.
So the reason that it's worse with Trump is because Trump is parroting Putin's talking points. He's put pressure on Ukraine to give up land. He's actually proposed only Russian propaganda to tell Ukraine to do exactly what Putin wants to do. He's not put any pressure on Russia to do anything. He's not put pressure on Russia on the oil sanctions or anything else. He could have done a ton of things that were being done. He could have actually given monies and weapons and so on and so forth on a regular basis to Ukraine instead of holding it back. So the problem comes into play, and Sasha can actually back me up on it. Is the fact that the Russian using the same Putin talking points, propagandizing the whole situation, using Russia's talking points, has demonized Ukraine and put them in a bad position.
Well, there's play acting too, where the Ukraine doesn't need the U.S. anymore. We haven't given them aid in over a year. The Ukraine now builds 50% of its own weapons, and it gets a ton of aid from Europe. But
Rick, you just actually bolstered my point. We haven't given them aid. We would give them aid had we had anybody else besides Trump. So therefore, they would be in a better position.
Yeah, but when Zelensky comes to the U.S. and says thank you and that's play acting where he plays along. But in terms of actual, like, he's not saving anything from the U.S. because we haven't. It's been blocked for more than a year.
Okay, as far as I know, and this is just me talking, I'm the only person on this panel right now that has had U.S. military experience. So I'm talking from a military person point of view. First of all, this is a war that is going to go on forever. It is going to go on for decades and decades. It's going to be a trench warfare very similar to World War I. Lines are going to move very little here and there. I mean, the generals they're sitting here saying, let's do this. Oh, we're going to go give them weapons and whatever else. It has nothing to do with helping Ukraine. Nothing to do with helping Ukraine. It has to do with testing weapons and using them in a wartime environment and taking lives. That's what it is about. And that is not just my opinion, it's other military person's opinion also. Now, what happens is in this situation is that no, I'm not done. So what happens is this. I want to know, Jacoby, how many overtures did Biden do while the Ukrainians were getting slaughtered by the Russians? How many times did Biden go and do anything with Ukraine or otherwise? Trump has made how many attempps? Look, there are attempts. They're at least out there. How many? Zero. Zero, Jacoby. Nope. Disagree.
Let me point out something to you.
Let me point out something to you, Jacoby. If people are going to talk about peace, then I'm talking about peace.
You asked me a question, and let me answer your question. Number one, with your
what question did I ask you? I didn't ask you a question. Go ahead. What was my question?
Listen, use your ears. Let me
answer
your
What question. Is the question? Give me the question.
I'm trying
Jacoby.
You keep talking over me. Let me answer your question. The question.
Give me the question.
The question that you ask is, how many overtures did Biden do in comparison to Trump?
That's right.
Your question. You went zero. You were incorrect on that. Do you know why? Okay, let me finish, please.
Please.
So when you started out, you tried to do this whole virtue signal. You pointed out your military service. Well, thank you for your military service, but that does not make you an expert. We actually have
intelligence. Yes, it does. In intelligence, yes, it does. 20 years in intelligence. 20 years in intelligence, Toby.
Chris, I'm answering your question. Thank you. So please sit back. Now, we have someone who also has military service here too. Someone who's actually
U.S. No, not U.S. Not in U.S.
But let me answer the question. Are you going to sit there and let me answer the question, or are you going to keep talking?
I'm just going to say where you're wrong.
Push the mute button and please hold on. Thank you. So when you tried to drop the bomb as if you knew more than everybody else on this panel by I have military service and expertise.
Intelligence.
Let me finish. I'm talking. So again, Sasha also on this panel is actually closer to the situation than you are and actually has greater knowledge of both of us. So starting off with that, you're in the wrong. Number two, did Biden ever? You're in the wrong.
You're amazing, Jacoby. You will take any argument and make it your argument. You will take any argument and make it yours. Unbelievable. You're unbelievable, dude.
I know I'm
Jacoby. Oh my gosh.
My glory. Now, please,
you are just amazing. Unbelievable. You're going to make yourself the expert on armed services, military intelligence, Ukraine. I love it. I love it. No overtures. Biden made no overtures. None. Zero. He never met with Ukraine. Never met with Russia.
I do this on a regular basis.
I know. So you're a good guy, Jacoby, but you don't know what you're talking about.
5 minutes.
Let Sasha come in. I'll take his shots over yours.
If you're not going to let me finish my point, please.
You don't have a point. You are not a military person.
I cannot get
Stop trying to. Put Sasha on. Put Sasha on, Jacoby. Sasha, please come in. Please come in. Bye, Jacoby. Hit
Bye, Chris.
Hit it. Hit it.
Now. I'm
Sasha.
I'm going
Sasha.
to finish my point. You're
Come on.
not going to.
You don't have a point. You don't have a point.
Finish.
No point.
We got Sasha and we got
Chris, let me talk.
No. You don't have a point.
And we're going to finish this 30 minutes just like this. Which one do you want to do, Chris? Do you want to actually have a conversation, or do you want to sit there and
all you want to do is hear yourself speak, Jacoby? I want to hear Sasha.
No. I would like to finish.
I want to hear Sasha.
I would like to finish my point.
Sasha has his hand up.
I know he had your hand up. We've had his hand up for a long time, but you didn't care until now. So please sit back and relax. Take orders. Now, you tried to drop your bomb of the military service. Let me point something out to you.
Again with the bomb of the military service.
Go ahead and finish.
You're insulting the military. Jacoby, you've just insulted the military. You've just insulted them. Bomb of the military service. Wow, pal. You are amazing.
Are we going to finish just like this? Thank you. So again,
now, Jacoby, I'm done with you. Bye, Jacoby. You can hear yourself speak. I'm hoping Sasha can
allow me to talk. Thank you. So
I want to hear from Sasha.
I would like to finish this one quick point. That's all I'm trying to get to. So, Chris tried to drop the bomb of, hey, I've got military service, so I know better than anybody. Well, I would like to respect Sasha's service because Sasha is closer to the whole situation than any of us here. And he also has military service. Number two, to complain that aid is just about testing military ammo and all this other stuff, that's a conspiracy. That is an idea built on nothing but a conspiracy. Now, if you're going to say that if one group has less ammo than the other group, and we give ammo to the first group A to give them more ammo, that's not going to help them, then you're a poor military person. You don't understand the fact that these individuals need aid. These individuals are looking for aid. And it hurt when the U.S. gave up trying to give aid to the Ukrainians. And that would have helped them out in their situation. Any military person knows that. But to complain and create some conspiracy around it, create some false narrative just because you want to say that Biden did. Yes, Biden wasn't the greatest president in the world. No, he wasn't. Biden wasn't the greatest in Ukraine. No, he wasn't. But he was better than Trump. He did not bring and demonize Zelensky. He did not use Putin's talking points against Zelensky, saying that Trump made up these overtures. Just as Rick pointed out, they were just fake overtures because he actually brought him in after talking to Putin every single time. So that's my only point.
Okay, first of all, before you compare Biden and Trump in the case of helping to Ukraine, I would like to point out that majority of U.S. population, whether Democrats or Republicans, they are for helping Ukraine. Majority, I'm talking about 62%, in some other cases 68%, but majority of Americans are to help Ukraine. Number two, Biden was helping Ukraine together with Western European nations and sustaining ability to Ukraine to defend itself for 3 years. Here comes Trump. He completely changed American the foreign politics. What's happening with Trump? He did not continue help to Ukraine. He became Ukrainian enemy. He sided with Russia and with Putin openly, which never was done by US in the last 85 years. It's the first time that the US president did such a thing, but don't forget it's the first time ever that the conman, the criminal, became US president, a liar, a convicted felon. So there is no surprises. Okay, you wanted a convicted felon to become president? Okay, you got it. Enjoy. Do you really enjoy it? Probably not. Now, what's happening is, let's analyze a year 2025. What's happening? What Americans' achievements are in this war? What are Russians and what are Ukrainians? America, zero. For a year, he's talking to Putin and he's flying his real estate people to Putin and he's talking and he's having meetings and telephone calls and all that. What's result? Let's talk about results now. Zero. No results. Except that he became supporter of Russia and Putin. That's the only result of actions of US and Donald Trump. Let's take Russia. What Russia has achieved in this 2025. They got minuscule territories in Ukraine, 1%, if not less. And sometimes they're taking a city and make announcement. And Putin said, we already have Kupiansk. The next day you have a picture of Zelensky. He's standing on the entrance to Kupiansk. So this is all nothing but lies of Russia. No achievement, no major breakthrough, nothing. Now let's take about Ukraine. Ukraine was able to hold its grounds. Ukraine was able to establish a formidable production of anything from drones to missiles to artillery. Together with Germans, they have now absolutely fantastic artillery machinery ready to fight Russians. And finally, after this debacle in Washington in February, which was the ambush of Trump and J.D. Vance and others, what happened? What Zelensky did? He created a formidable opposition of Western European leaders. He was twice received by King Charles III. He is in a high esteem with all European leaders, countries, and recently there was a $90 billion to Ukraine from European Union. It's so much more than everything what America did for Ukraine in the last 4 years. So $90 billion make Ukraine viable. It will be there to stay, and it will fight and prevail over Russian occupiers. Now with this, I don't understand what kind of a peace talk Trump is still talking about. Before, he was trying to allure Putin with some kind of $2 trillion fund to explore Arctic and the other bullshit, really. So now that Europeans, they arrested Russian money, $250 billion that Trump wanted to put his hands on. Done, finish, no more, bye-bye. So now it's all controlled by Europe and used for Ukraine. Look, they got $90 billion, no interest loan. Furthermore, if the only situation when Ukraine will repay this loan, if it's Russia, will provide reparations on that amount or higher. So then Ukraine will return. Now, if Russia will not provide it, then Ukraine doesn't owe to European Union anything, and European Union now using this juicy $250 billion of Russian money to continue its help to Ukraine, to rebuild Ukraine, to do anything what they want to do. Bye-bye, Russia. That's what's happening from where Ukraine stands now, Russia, and United States.
So Chris estimated this war could go on for decades.
Yeah, agree.
Okay. Russia's lost over 1 million troops, but Russia still has 3.5 million, including the reserves. So it hasn't run out of fighters yet.
It's a numbers. In reality, they have nothing, because they have their best army that they had, the best troops. They were all done and over with in 2022. They're all lying down in Ukrainian steppes. That's all what's left of them. Now the rest, what they're coming, they are recruiting people from all these national republics like Mordovia, Bashkiria, and some other, Murcia, just name it. And there are uprising right now in all these republics because they're saying that our young 20 years olds are being killed for nothing. We have nothing to do with Ukraine. We don't need Ukraine. We don't want our people to be killed there for nothing. So what Russia going to do? To recruit their people from Moscow, St. Petersburg? So there will be uprising. There will be nothing left of Putin. So Putin now, he needs peace much more than Ukraine. His army has been paralyzed. They cannot get any advance. They cannot get anything going for them. Trump is done. Nobody needs him. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. You see, Zelensky was playing a clown and saying, "Yes, Mr. Trump, you are wonderful, Mr. Trump. You're the greatest, Mr. Trump." You know why they were doing that? He was doing that to please his European partners, because Europe doesn't want to alienate Trump. They still see him as a potential ally, or at least they don't believe that it's all lost with Trump, so they're trying to be cordial or so on. But trust me, the situation now is Trump showed his helplessness. He cannot get any agreement with Putin. Nothing. Putin in the last 12 months, he haven't yielded even 1% or even 0.5% or anything at all, zero. With all this Trump posturing that he has wonderful relation with Putin and Putin loves him and so on. And what did he get from Putin? Nothing. So who needs Trump anymore?
Well, apparently Trump needs another person, and all along those lines, because and this came down on yesterday, but a certain billionaire, or maybe he's a trillionaire and everything like that, has said that he's going to be funding Republican candidates ahead of the 2026 midterm elections, because he's arguing that the country is doomed if Democrats take control of Congress. So this is Elon Musk, who wrote on X, "America is toast if the radical left wins. They will open the floodgates to illegal immigration and fraud. It won't be America anymore." So apparently he made a response to a conservative influencer claiming Musk is going all in funding Republicans to help President Trump take back full control in the November midterm election. So what's our thoughts around this? There's also speculation that
Musk is a troll and a lunatic. And yeah, he's got a ton of money. The guy is worth close to $700 billion now. So if he wants to throw $1 billion, $2 billion at the election, he can probably buy a ton of, he can probably give the Republicans a few victories.
Yeah, he might be able to do that. But the other thing that apparently Trump did recently, and this is something we've talked about on the network last year, was the whole notion of tariffs. And there are some people that are saying that he changed his mind on tariffs again because there's a major industry. It's an industry that has impact here in North Carolina, the furniture industry, because he's postponing steep increases on imported upholstery, furniture, kitchen cabinets, and vanities for 1 year. So what's our thoughts around this? Because apparently he's having some notion of being concerned about the tariffs, and so therefore he's going to change his tariff strategy.
If somebody makes a decent argument to Trump that tariffs in a particular area are bad, Trump will back down. He's got a nickname for that. It's Taco. It's Trump always chickens out. And yeah, all you need to do is get to Trump. If you're a representative of the furniture industry or like the coffee industry, well, we don't have a coffee industry, and that's why tariffs on coffee are ridiculous. There are very few U.S. coffee growers. We don't have the climate for it, so why put tariffs on coffee? There's nobody that we're protecting in America. If somebody could make that argument to Trump, maybe he would drop tariffs on coffee.
Yep, he might drop the tariffs on coffee and everything like that. The other thing that I thought there was an interesting article, I don't know y'all's thoughts around this, but I know you travel a lot, Rick, or at least you try to get around, particularly around California. But apparently trains have become very popular and everything. So Amtrak is seeing a boost. I don't know if that's something you would invest in, Sasha, but it seems like Amtrak is having a boost and all along those lines. So why are more people taking the train versus the planes? Because it seems like it's having a sudden rise in popularity.
I think trains are probably more reliable in this climate when there is a shortage of air traffic controllers and possible strikes by the pilots, by the stewardesses, by whoever. So it's in some cases it's a viable alternative. So you don't want to take a train across the United States from New York to Los Angeles because of the time required. But on some shorter distances, for sure, even from Chicago to LA, I think you can take a nice, comfortable train and sleep.
Yeah, the trouble with trains in the U.S. versus Japan and Europe is our distances are huge, and our tracks and tech are outmoded. So freaking taking a train in Italy or England is a pleasure. You get on, it goes fast, it's smooth, and an hour later you're there. Same for Italy. The U.S. you get on a train and it's checka 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 20 hours. And
It's a 19th century technology. That's
Yep.
what it is.
That's really what it is we're not
And
updating
it's-
our infrastructure at all.
but it's tough to upgrade because our distances are so huge. The west of the Mississippi, distances are ridiculous. You know, you could
Well, I would say that it's not the distance that causes the problem with the update on the infrastructure. It's the idea that we're paying for it. That's what's holding a lot of everything that goes on in the US. It's going to be too expensive for like the big push around the interstate highway when that was first created. That dealt with the distances, but you know, we're not updating it because it costs a lot of money to do that.
And that was a defense. Eisenhower pushed the interstates through as a defense measure. Now, he was a general. He probably was well aware that it really wasn't for defense. He wanted to get America on the roads. It was America's boom time, and he said it was for defense. That if we're ever invaded, we can move troops and tanks really fast along these interstates. But you know, and yeah, we spent a ton of money in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and now we're more broke, and we don't want to make the interstate. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember going 95 miles an hour on an interstate. My stepmom's driving. We're in this giant station wagon, 8 miles a gallon. Nobody's wearing a seatbelt. The dog had some venereal disease that he was wiping on everybody. It was chaos, but we were hauling ass.
And the highway also has some very ugly history when it comes to racism as well. Because they were definitely knocking out certain neighborhoods that were very thriving, not just in Durham, but in other places as well, even in New York. So there's a whole context, and there have been studies about this as well. So it was designed with intention.
Well, yeah, I mean that the redlining and everything else, but the interesting piece on, I guess, another interesting piece is how you pointed out that the notion behind defense and the military was one of the big reasons and the reasons why people pushed and paid for it. That's the same thing with the space program. They funded a lot of money into the space program for defense because as soon as Sputnik went up, hey, it's a race to space now. We've got to put in all this money in.
We had huge benefits from that. We got the generation of tech geniuses that gave us our current. One thing with 3 minutes to go, we should mention one other thing. Iran loves to tease us with unrest. It's like, you know, they threw out the Shah in 79, and for the past 45 years they've been, we might fall, we might revolt, and so it's going on again. There are protests in Iran. The government is killing people. Is any chance that the government falls? I don't think so. Sasha?
Mm-hmm. I'd like to mention that there is a very interesting correlation between the military and the, let's say, like civil use of the same transport ideas. For example, if you remember Falkland War, English military used luxurious passenger fleet. The leader of that time was Queen Elizabeth II. It was luxurious ocean liner, and they used it to transport the troops in large quantities. I'm talking about thousands of men and women that were transported directly from UK to Falkland Islands, believe it or not. It's a giant distance, but they used it because it was much more efficient and cheaper than if they would use some military transport planes, which can carry, say, maybe a couple of hundred people, and here you have 8,000 people carrying the troops. So again, it's a dual use of certain transports the roads to both military and the civilian users. Now, what's interesting is that in the last few days, I was basically when Russian came with this absolutely idiotic idea that Ukrainians were trying to kill him and his residence and so on, with absolutely no evidence of anything, because according to them, there was 91 Ukrainian drones. All of them were destroyed. So at least you must have some remains of these drones. Show at least one or two or three for no. There's absolutely no evidence of anything. So I think Trump now started to think that probably Putin is playing him for fool by making the suggestion, and Trump was screaming, "Oh, how they could do that! It's good that I didn't give them tomahawks." Ukrainians started to produce now missiles that flying much farther than tomahawks. They're faster than tomahawks, and they can carry more weapons than explosives than tomahawks. So speaking about by the time that Trump is still trying to make some kind of a peace, whatever it might be, Europeans and Ukrainians will learn how to get rid of any American weapons, even aviation, F-16s, the Americans flying target. Now, Mirage from France, Eurofighter from France, they are the Saab machinery from Sweden. They're all coming to Ukraine. And if they have it all, why would they need the F-16s? Why would they need anything? They're producing now their own HIMARS systems. They're producing now their missiles, their own. So the only thing is they have to multiply the production. And they can do it, they're capable. And Germany is helping them big time. So Trump is acting against his own military providers. He is acting against. Now there is something interesting. Europeans now approved $1 trillion fund to re-equip European armies, and that's going into effect right now from this January 1st this year until the 2050. So it's a program for the next 20 years. Guess what? Canada is now participating in this program. Canada will supply a lot of machinery, a lot of parts to that. Guess who is not part of that? $1 trillion. United States are not part of it because Europeans are not trusting the United States with their military programs. So this is something to think about it when you try to evaluate Trump's results for the last year.
So at least in 3 years, when we have a different president, we want to normalize relations with the rest of the world, at least we'll be trying to rejoin a NATO that's much stronger.
Yeah, that NATO should be much stronger. Yeah, it should be much stronger.
NATO is going much stronger day by day as long as Ukrainians are fighting and destroying Russian army. That's alone making European Union much stronger. And guess what? US is helping Putin and Russia, not European Union, not Ukraine.
Yeah, my big fear though is that, I mean, yes, NATO will be much stronger, which is great, but how badly will the relationships with the other nations be destroyed, be frayed? Because it's going to take a lot to reconnect those relationships, even when Trump is gone. and especially depending upon who's next in office.
So if we get a president who's not a dickhead, the rest of the world will welcome us back. Like when Obama replaced, George W. Bush, he was nowhere near as big a dick as, he made a ton of mistakes, but he wasn't the dick that Trump is. And when Obama replaced Bush, the world was overjoyed, and they gave Obama a Nobel Prize for nothing.
Yeah.
So if we get a Democrat in there who's not like a complete joke, the world will rejoice.
But then, because Trump has been in there twice, he destroyed relationships the first time he was there. Now he's done it the second time he's here. Are we going to be seen as how unreliable are we going to be seen moving forward?
Well, we're going to be seen as an alcoholic. When we're not drunk, we're a great guy. But sometimes we fall off the wagon, and it makes people nervous.
It makes people nervous when they fall off the wagon, and get ready to wrap up very shortly. But you had a point, Sasha, and I was going to bring up two very quick things.
Okay, very quick point. Chris was talking a lot about his military experience, and he's talking on behalf of military and so on. I would ask him one simple question. What has Donald Trump to do with military when he is replacing his generals and degrading them on every moment? What does he have? Did he have any military service in his youth? I don't think so. I think he evaded military service. So how can you rely on a person with no military experience evading his service in military? How you can put him as the chief of the U.S. Army? I really don't get it.
But hey, Sasha, he's going to have the new Trump class of Navy ships.
He's going to have his own class of ships that he's going to name after himself, just like he's named that whole Kennedy Trump senator, and he's going to name every other thing that he can come up with naming. Then he's getting some pushback on that as well for naming it without any approval, since that's supposed to be done by Congress and everything like that. So there's all kinds of pushback. There was a I know some people are going to be watching some of the football games because we're in the middle of this playoff season, which will end in 2025. And I guess Indiana is the favorite to be the national champ, which might surprise a lot of people because they were never known as a college football powerhouse that I'm aware of and everything like that, more of a basketball powerhouse, but they're definitely looking like they may be the favorites to win and everything. And then we lost a legacy performer, and some people are even wondering about that because she had some interesting history, but they're saying that just because you mourn her doesn't mean you have to absolve her, because Bridget Bardot passed away not that many days ago and everything, and apparently she was a far-right activist, but also an animal rights activist as well. So some people are saying that she had some interesting views, including views around her son and all along those lines, but that doesn't mean that you have to absolve her while you are mourning her, because just because we have that life doesn't mean that we are always in the right.
Well, speaking about arts, what's happened with Trump's Lincoln Center? So where is the Trump's name now on that center? I hope it's good.
Yeah.
It's it's the whole lawsuit.
And I know that many artists canceled their performances at Trump, so-called Trump Lincoln.
Yeah, there was a jazz group that canceled on New Year's Eve. There were several major performers that canceled, and he even tried to turn around, and I think he sued one of them for like $1 million because, Trump loves to sue people as well. It wasn't the jazz band, but it was one of the other performers that he sued because he said that they were breaking contract or something along those lines. But I know he was trying to sue them for not participating when they withdrew because they didn't like the name and everything like that. But that's some stupid lawsuits in my thoughts.
A South Park writer bought the website for Trump Kennedy Center back in August because he anticipated this. And now if you go to TrumpKennedyCenter.org, you go there and you'll find it's just making fun of the whole thing. I haven't been there yet, but
yeah, try to see what's there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll see you fine folks on Monday and all along those.
I'll see you on Sunday.
I'll see you on Sunday because we'll be taping the next
Marco,
episode
don't
next
forget
night.
links,
And I'm sending you your links this weekend. Definitely.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye.